In this video, we're going to talk about exponents. Now, we're going to get really basic on it. There's going to be a whole unit where we're going to do crazy things with exponents. I just want to show you what they mean. This is just the very basics. So, for example, if I have 3 squared, and when we put a 2 up there, the little number on top, we say squared every time we see it. Now, 3 is called the base, and 2 is called the power, or the exponent. And what this means is I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to times it by himself twice. So this really means 3 times 3, and the answer is going to be 9, okay? But what if I do this? What if I go 3 cubed? Whenever we write 3, we say cubed. So 3 to the second power, we call it 3 squared. 3 to the third power, we call it 3 cubed. And then when we go 4th, 5th, 6th, we just say 4th power, 5th power, 6th power. We only have cool names like squared and cubes with the 2 and the 3, okay? This means 3 times 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So that's how we end up doing exponents, okay? So now, here's some properties that you should know about them. First of all, here's the key thing. What do you do if there's negative numbers in here? This is the part that everybody kind of freaks out on, okay? And this becomes a big thing on your test, and there's a way that a teacher wants to trick you. I shouldn't say trick you, because they're not really trying to trick you. They're trying to show if you know what you're doing, right? But it's a tricky question. It's when they do something like this. What is negative 5 squared? Okay, when you look at that, what is that number? What's that going to be? Well, you know that negative 5 times negative 5, a negative times a negative is a positive, so is the answer positive 25? This is where it gets tricky. The answer is no on this. Now, it is true, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25, but here's where this gets a little bit weird. The exponent only goes directly to the number of the base. It does not go over to the negative sign. So really, this is like saying negative 1 times 5 squared. And here you would go 25 times negative 1, and you get negative 25. That's really how your brain has to see it, is that the square goes to the number, the square does not go to the negative sign. So in this case, I'm going to square the 5, 25, and the negative number just stays. Now, here's the trick. Watch this. If I take that same negative 5 and I put it inside of parentheses now that's a very different problem. The 2 is going to everything now. So this is negative 5 times negative 5, and now you're going to get your positive 25. So in this situation, without the parenthesis, you square the 5 but not the negative, and you're going to get the negative 25, right? Because the negative is just going to drop down. And in this case, you're going to square both the negative and the positive, and you're going to get that. Now, what if it's a cubed? What if I do this? Negative 2 cubed versus, let's just say, negative 2 parentheses cubed. Well, on this one, I can tell you right now, it's not going to matter. And I know it's not going to matter because the exponent is going to be odd. So I know that if I take 3 negatives, the answer is going to be negative. So no matter what I do, I'm going to get a negative number. So this one, you have to think about it like this. Negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? And so 2 times 2 times 2 is going to be 8 times negative 1. Your answer is going to be negative 8. This one, you actually have to think about it like this. Let me put a little equal signs here. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. And in this case, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Positive 4 times a negative 2 is a negative 8. Okay? So this is going to be something that's on every test when you're learning about negatives. So just watch for that. Again, if the exponent is negative, if the exponent is odd, it shouldn't matter, okay? But if the exponent is even, that's where it's going to trick you. Now I'm going to show you one more thing that people get a little bit weirded out to at this level, okay? What if you have a fraction? We all hate fractions, don't we? Well, you know what? Let's learn not to hate them. We can love fractions too. There's enough love the world for fractions. So let's learn to love our fractions, okay? So now I'm gonna go, just nice, easy numbers. I'm gonna go 2/3, and I'm going to cube them, okay? Let's go ahead and go to the third power. So whenever you have a fraction to an exponent, here's the deal. It goes to the top, and it also goes to the bottom. You have to do the exponent to both the numerator and the denominator. So on this, I'm going to read this as 2 times 2 times 2 over 3 times 3 times 3, and that's going to give me 8 over 27. Okay, now, how about this one? Negative 2/3. Let's do the parentheses, why not? Squared, okay? And I'll do one after that without the parentheses. So on this one, I'm really looking at this like this. Negative 2/3 times negative 2/3. Okay, so I'm doing it 2 times 2, but the negative goes to both of them. Well, I know a negative times a negative is a positive, so I know my answer is going to be positive. 2 times 2 is 4, and I know that 3 times 3 is 9, and I get that for an answer. Cool. Now, what if I take away the parentheses, though? Negative 2/3 squared. Well, the negative sign can either go to the 2 or it can go to the 3. It doesn't matter which one you want to say the negative goes to, but it can only go to one of them. But remember, the square here is going to go to the 2, and the square there is going to go to the 3. The square does not go to the negative sign. So my answer, I'm just going to write the negative right there, because I know it's going to be negative. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. Just a different way to think about it, okay? But the negative just kind of floats out here, because that's like negative 1 times 2/3 squared. So I hope that helps you. It gives you a little idea of how to do fractions, the whole negative number trick, and now you know how exponents work. And so when exponents pop up in your math, it'll be a little easier for you. There's going to be, again, a whole unit where we're going to multiply them, we're going to add them, we're going to do all these functions, we're going to do parentheses and put plus and minuses and do crazy stuff with them. That's going to happen later though. Okay, but for right now, that's how exponents basically work.